Hey there everybody, AJ back again for the Mighty Gluestick channel. It's that time again, time to ramble about D&D, and this is sort of a condensed form of what I had been inspired to talk about on the in the live streams based on questions about gods and demons, planes of existence and so on. The age-old question of how to kill a god, what's the difference between a devil and a demon exactly in the role-playing game. So here we go, and this is going to involve a lot of metaphor. In fact, it's pretty much pure metaphor to help explain it in a different way, as I find it really helps make it all relatable if I talk about it using things other than weird otherworldly stuff. It's still going to be pretty strange. Now imagine that the world of Toril is one of, it's an ant farm. A couple of sheets of glass and some sand in the middle, and the ants going about their business inside. To them, the glass is the edge of their reality. It's the ultimate barrier. Now, let's stick a bunch of ant farms side by side. So a single layer of glass separates one ant farm colony from the next one, and so on. And we have them on a long bench in the middle of a room. And at one end of the room is a window. A nice warm sunlight streams in from that window. And at the other end of the room is a freezer that some damn fool has left wide open, and it's sucking all the heat out of the room, or it's trying to. The ants near the window have it pretty good. Things are warm and bright, they have little sugar syrup feeders are dripping away, everything's nice. Though the ones who are right by the window, well, they're specially adapted to handle all the heat and light. Most ants can't withstand those conditions for very long. Too much of a good thing can be bad. The other end of the stack, those poor ants are constantly struggling. They're cold, it's dark, the feeders barely work, so they have to grow fungus off the bodies of their dead. They lack the heat, and that lack of heat means that their eggs rarely hatch, so they have to find some way to steal the larvae from other ant farms. There is a way that some ants figure out to go up some of the air tubes and into the air filters and make their way from there into other ant farms. In some cases, the glass between the farms has imperfections in it, little thin spots that have bubbles and gaps that the ants can squeeze through. Middle of the room, the bench is really wide, and because the whoever set up this realizes that this is the best optimum place for the ants to grow. And in the middle ant farm, right between the warm window and the cold freezer, is the sweet spot that most ants can live in comfortably. That middle ant farm is huge. No one queen or colony could handle that whole space, so it's further divided up into glass partitions so that the ants have a boundary that surrounds them on all sides. And so they have an ant farm on either side, ant farms on the same layer above and below, front and back. This is actually not a bad model for the D&D universe, because things are going to get a little bit weird for these poor ants. Now, here we introduce the idea that there are gods operating in this long stack of ant farms. The gods can see right through the glass walls separating the ant farms, and not only that, they can move around as if the glass walls were not even there. Also, they are larger than any single ant farm can hold, so they exist in more than one ant farm at a time. Of course, from the ants' perspective, all they see is the part of that god which is in between their glass walls at that particular moment. So it's a massive and powerful thing, but they really have no idea just how large and powerful the whole god, the whole form of that god is. Some may even lash out and attack that part, that section of that god inside their farm. That god may even be hurt and move away from that farm, but it would have to take all of the farms that god is straddling, attacking that god all at once to make it move out of all of them, or perhaps even die. And the only things that can organize that sort of mass action is typically another god. But ants that can travel between the different glass panes. By the time any of those ants have figured out how to travel between the layers of the stack and have organized even a few of the farms to rise up together and attack their god, they will have long since died of old age, because ants don't live that long. Well, the queen ant can live a few decades, but she is way too busy for that sort of nonsense. But wait, there's more than just ants in the stacks. I mean, how do we keep all the water fresh and all the glass clean, and where does all the sugar come from? You think this is magic? Well, granted, this is an analogy. It could well be, but no, time to talk about just how weird the elementals are. Inside the glass, that's right, inside the glass, there is actually some sort of liquid crystal stuff. It's kept solid by passing a specific charge through it that causes it to turn from a liquid state into a solid state. So there's no real glass anyway. It's all actual, it's just maintained that way. It's made solid by an electrical force, an energy force. Pretty high tech, but this is the greatest ant farm system ever devised. so it stands to reason. Unfortunately, the liquid crystal is infested with microorganisms that are impossible to spot because they're only visible when they're removed from the liquid, at which point they solidify the liquid into a crystal body to protect themselves, move around in the alien environment outside of the glass barriers. However, we can illuminate them with ultraviolet light, and for a moment, they are infesting damn near every single pane of glass. In fact, they're in the sand, they're everywhere. Oh no, the ultraviolet light has a terrible effect on them. The whole system was not built to handle that sort of light, and it has turned the microorganisms into virulent little pathogens that spawn out of the glass and infect the sand and even the ants. We're losing whole farms to this effect. Even after I turn the UV light really down low, the infection is still spreading. There doesn't seem to be a way for us to fix this. Oh wait, Look at that. The ants from the window zone are coming down here to fight the infection. Wonder why? How did they figure that out? Must be the gods saw it happening. But they are having a hard time adapting to the cold side of the room near the freezer. But interestingly, they get a little bit infected when they survive down here, and now they can't go back to the window zone because the other ants see them as contaminated. But it's allowed them to adapt to the freezer zone. Well, that's unfortunate. Now they're stuck down here by the freezer trying to get resources just like the others. It's even worse for them because they have to spend all of the energy fighting the infection. And great, now they're taking resources from the middle zone farms to do it. This is going to spiral out of control. Okay, it seems like they've sorted out some system and things are in a kind of equilibrium. I guess that's alright then. So now there we have the planes. The positive and negative energy planes, celestial and infernal zones, gods, parallel dimensions, planar travel, planeswalkers, elementals, the abyss and demons, and the devils, all explained using ant farms. I hope that was fun for you as it was for me. I'm kind of loving the idea of making an ant farm now. Ooh, maybe a beehive. Wait, would the beehive be more like Mechanus? Interesting. Well, that's it. Just a little short video for you guys as I work on other stuff. It's just something that I thought would capture your attention and maybe help explain it a little bit through metaphor. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll catch you again soon.